Welcome to this week's episode of the Early Childhood Educator. My bookshelf had no organization since I opened in 2020. I just throw books up there. Now that I've built my library a little bit bigger than I originally had, I want to organize it in a way that feels really helpful as someone working with children and building off children's interest in the emergent curriculum style. I want to be able to see clearly what I have so that when children are engaged in a certain interest, this book that I know that will benefit them or is so relevant to what they're talking about, I want to be able to find it and pull it from the shelf quickly. Literature can be such a powerful tool for children. So far since January, and it is now March, every interest that the children have had, I've had a book that's kind of either sparked it or scaffolded on their interest, and it's really brought more depth and meaning to their learning. And still talking about even the January piece of literature that we added. Earlier, I just took a quick glance at my books and from memory wrote down different categories that I want to have available and accessible on my bookshelves. I actually struggled with this quite a bit. You know, I have a lot of books that are not just simple, like this one's about animals, this one's about vehicles, this one's about emotions, this one's about numbers, right? Some of the books could be in multiple categories, so that got me thinking a lot. So I found I needed to look at it a little bit differently. I need to find categories that work for me and my educator style. If you're planning on organizing your books a bit, don't get really focused on what should the categories be. Make them so that they are practical and accessible for you, knowing how your brain works and what your learning style is, and you organize it the way that makes sense for you, because ultimately it's you that's using it. All right, time to start bringing these down. On my big carpet here and just lay it all out. Look at my giant stack. I mean, that's only from 3 years of doing this in my own home with my own stash. This doesn't include my own son's books upstairs, where this pile will only get bigger and bigger as the years go on. Without further ado, let's organize. Books that I have and that I've kind of found here. Here are the different categories I'm going to sort them by. And some of them do bleed into the other, but this felt like something that was right and worked for me. So the first one is self-love and emotions. Finding self-love and emotions kind of bleeding into family, because lots of the books are talking about how I am like my parents or how I am not like my parents, or how me is my family, and there's just so much connection there. So I'm going to put them together on the bookshelf. Okay, the next category, once again, it bleeds into the family part. I've titled it Society/Religion. So as you can see, I'm kind of starting with the self and expanding circles to now family and friendship, and then expanding that to society and, you know, your greater religion or more spiritual topics. This includes like holidays. It also includes something like birthdays and Halloween and Valentine's and stuff like that, because it just is something that we kind of focus on as a society or from a religion. The next category is a little more typical. Literacy and mathematics. This is also going to include things like shapes and colors, numbers, letters. Considering I'm a forest school, I really need to up the amount of books I have in this category, weather/nature. These are real tangible things that children notice in my childcare space and pay attention to, and I really need some literacy materials to help extend those observations that they're having with the change of weather or the animals they're seeing. I'm going to group my animal books also in my weather/nature. The next category is rhyming/music books. So I'm finding these tend to be the more like board books, toddler books that are just songs or rhymes. And a lot of these books are kind of like those silly little stories that just make you giggle. Lots of Sandra Boynton books in here. Pete the Cat. And then the last two categories are stories or more of my fiction books. Ones that don't necessarily fit in these categories. They could find those themes in there, but it's more just like an adventure story or discovery type story. Non-fiction, I have a book about shadows, National Geographic kind of stuff. Other books that don't fit in these categories that are non-fiction. And then I've got these books here that I'm going to recycle because they feel very outdated and really not something I want to promote. Now I've got to get these books back up on the shelf. I'm going to do each section in rainbow order if I can. And I'm going to add some labels and I'll show you the finished piece. Masterpiece. As I've organized all of my sections, my categories, I'm going to label them now, and I'm noticing I really need more nonfiction books, books about science topics and plants and animals and nature and seasons, all those kind of things. I guess naturally my personality is drawn to stories and spirituality and more the emotional side, which makes sense. I'm very creative and right-brained, but I need to look at kind of those more nonfiction, factorial type books that also help children learn and grow. Thanks for watching. Next week, we've got something really exciting. I'm getting my new kitchenette in my childcare space down here in the basement. Down here in the... I'm so excited. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday. You'll see a good before and after. And who doesn't love a good before and after? Thanks for watching again. We'll see you then. Bye.